Recording in progress.
Okay, so it looks like, Stephen, it looks like we have public attendance.
Yes, it looks like they've all.
Okay, aloha and good morning. My name is Phyllis Shimabukuro Geyser. I'm chairperson of the Hawaii Department of Agriculture and the Board of Agriculture. I'd like to call this board meeting to order. And I apologize to members of the public about the delay. We had some technical difficulties. So welcome. And just to go over some housekeeping measures, to view the meeting and provide oral testimony, we're going to ask you as an attendee that your microphone is automatically muted during the meeting unless you're going to be providing testimony for each agenda item that you wish to testify on. Please click the raise hand button, which is located at the bottom towards the middle of your screen. And the board staff will individually enable each testifier to unmute their microphone. When recognized by me, the chair, please unmute your microphone before speaking and mute your microphone after you're finished speaking in order to prevent audio feedback. When testifying, you will be asked to identify yourself and any organization that you may represent. Each testifier will be limited to 2 minutes of testimony per agenda item. For those of you that are joining us via phone access, upon dialing the number, you will be prompted to enter the meeting ID. After entering the meeting ID, you will be asked to either enter your panelist number or wait to be admitted. When I ask for public testimony, you may indicate you want to testify by entering pound and then 9 on your phone keypad. After entering pound and then 9, a voice prompt will let you know that the host of the meeting has been notified. When recognized by me, the chair, you may unmute yourself by pressing pound and 6, and a voice prompt will let you know that you are unmuted. Once you have finished speaking, please enter pound and 6 again to mute yourself. Okay. So first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from March 22nd, 2022.
You need to do a roll call.
Oh, okay. I was going to do that when I asked for a motion, but I'll do it now. Okay, so I see Mary Alice Evans. Can you say if you're present and if you are alone?
I am present and I'm alone.
Okay. Chair Case.
Suzanne Case, present and alone.
Okay. Diane Lay.
Diane Lay, present and alone.
Okay. Randy Cabral.
Present and alone.
Okay. Fred Cowell.
Good morning. Present and alone.
Okay. Joe Tanaka.
Present and alone.
Okay. And myself, I am alone in my office. Members, do I have a motion to approve the minutes and a second for discussion?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Fred. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Randy Cabral. Before I ask for comments from the public and board members, I'd just like to briefly comment that as you recall, our last board meeting, I did elect to take items out of order for the agenda. And the minutes were formatted according to the agenda that was publicly noticed. So I apologize if it, it was kind of difficult to follow. But I would like to acknowledge to people in the public and to the board members that on page 1 of the draft minutes, we did mention when board member Mary Alice Evans left the meeting at 9:32 and then rejoined at 10:50 a.m. So if there's any question about board member Mary Alice's comments in the minutes, I just like to bring that to your attention. Okay, so I'll ask, is there anyone from the public that has what would like to testify or comment on the minutes?
There are no raised hands at this time.
Okay, so then I'll call board member Mary Alice.
Chair, on page 4, line 43 and 44, the Office of State Planning has a new name, and that is the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development.
Thank you, board member Mary Alice. Is it okay for us to use the popular acronym now that we've heard so many times during session? OPSD.
Yes, of course.
Okay, thank you. Any other, Suzanne?
Yeah, our ex officio seat was represented last time by David Smith, and so I should probably abstain from the minutes. Hope that doesn't mess up your vote.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for reminding us about that. Anybody else have questions or comments about the minutes? I just have one, and on the page 4, line 26, the department worked with Dr. Peroy to do updates for Honolulu. I can't recall if I said Honolulu County or City and County of Honolulu, but it was for the entire county, so not just the urban core.
I'm sorry, Chair. Can I ask if Director Tanaka can turn on his video?
He's having problems with his camera.
The new law does require that we have a both audio and visual connection.
Okay,
The old law, which had a different notice requirement, wouldn't have required it, but it does require it for virtual meetings.
okay.
Require a quorum have audio and visual?
We're allowed to, I think, take 30 minutes to fix it. So
Okay.
maybe we could continue for 30 minutes to allow him to fix it, since we have quorum without him. But we will need to get.
Okay. Can I? Thank you, Brian. Can I do a short recess so we can work with the staff in Maui to see if there's a remedy or not? Just 2-3 minutes, just to confirm that. Okay. Just a short recess, please. Jason, Stephen, and Brian. Joe Tanaka is going to try and change cameras, change computers to see if he can get a visual. So should we resume the meeting? And Brian, you let me know. Was it the 30 minutes from the time we recessed or from the time we started the meeting?
I think if he, I mean, I think if he's just changing cameras, we can just move forward, and then when he comes on with the new camera, we can start him from then.
Yeah, they're trying to change laptops, I think.
So he won't be part of the meeting until he changes camera, right?
We'll have to, I'll have to tell Gail to let him know, so he won't ask any questions or participate in any of the discussion. Because he is participating from home. We thought he would go to the department office, but he did not. So
it might be easier just to move forward, and then as soon as he can be corrected, he can participate as a board member. He could,
okay.
as a participant.
Oh, okay, I see him getting access now. You see, his granddaughter is there, Joe Tanaka.
I'm on.
Okay, okay,
Mute, unmute.
okay. Okay, we see you, Joe. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, can we call the meeting back to order, Stephen?
Yes, we're back now.
Okay, okay. Thank you, members of the public. Thank you for your indulgence. Okay, so I'd like to note that board member N. Young has joined us. N, are you participating alone?
Yes, I'm alone.
Okay, thank you, thank you. All right, so we were discussing the minutes. And do you have any questions or remarks?
No comments. Looks good to me.
Okay, okay. So and if there are no further discussion on the minutes, I'll call a roll call vote to approve the minutes. So Mary Alice Evans.
Aye.
Suzanne Case is abstaining.
Abstain.
Right, okay. Diane Lay.
Aye.
Okay. Randy Cabral.
Aye.
Craig Cowell.
Aye.
N. Young.
Yes.
And chair votes aye. Okay, so the minutes are approved as amended.
Chair, this is Nick Comerford. I have joined the meeting.
Oh, okay. Nick, would you like to cast your vote on the minutes?
Aye.
Okay, thanks. Okay, the minutes are approved. Joe, did I call you? I'm sorry.
Aye.
Okay. So we have a unanimous approval. Thank you. Okay, moving on. I'd like to call. First up on our agenda is communications from the divisions. Ag Resource Management Division. There were no introductions, so we're moving on. I'd like to call Linda Murai to do the first presentation. Request for conversion of general lease number S-3768. Linda, are you ready?
Hello, can you hear me
Yes.
all right? Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Linda, can you turn on your camera if you're able to? Okay,
Sure. Is
thank
that
you.
okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
Before you start, Linda, I'd like to acknowledge that board member Vince Mina has joined the meeting.
Aloha, everybody.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Linda, go ahead and proceed.
Okay, thank you. Again, good morning, Chair and board members. My name is Linda Marai. I'm a property manager with the Agricultural Resource Management Division. This submittal is a request for general lease number S3768. It's for the conversion of general lease number 3768. The lessees are Kevin James Mulkern and Susan Shaheen Mulkern. This parcel is in Waimanalo on the island of Oahu. The current annual rent is $4,800 a year. The character of use is for diversified agriculture. Some remarks, general lease number 3768 was awarded by BLNR to Stanley Kawabata in 1963. In 2017, the Board of Agriculture approved the assignment of the lease to Kevin Mulkern and Susan Mulkern. The Mulkerns have been in the nursery and landscaping business since 1975 and had planned for the parcel to develop an orchard of breadfruit and cacao with apiaries interspersed amongst the trees and plants for pollination and honey production. The lessee has requested a conversion of said lease in accordance with Section 4-158(8) Hawaii Administrative Rules to a new 35-year term. An appraisal was ordered pursuant to Section 4-158(21) Hawaii Administrative Rules for the purpose of determining the fair market rental for the parcel for the converted initial term. The fair market annual rental rate has been determined at $12,570 per year. In addition, in accordance with administrative rules, the lessee will pay a premium equal to 25% of the rental for the new lease for a period of 7 years, starting from the commencement date of the new lease. Further, the board and lessee mutually agreed to cancel the existing general lease number 3768 by executing a mutual cancellation document. The recommendation is that the Board of Agriculture first approve lessee's request to convert general lease number 3768 to a new non-agricultural parklands lease of not more than 35 years for its initial lease term, subject to the conversion provisions of 4-158 HER, and 2, approve the mutual cancellation of general lease 3768. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Board members, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, moved by board member Mary Alice Evans. Do I have a second? Second by Diane Lay. Okay, we are in discussion. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify?
There are no raised hands from the public at this time.
Okay. Board members, any questions? Oh, yes, Mary Alice, followed by Suzanne Case.
Chair, it looks like the new appraised lease value is a 300% increase over the previous one. And I'm wondering if staff member Linda Marai could explain what that's based on, because it seems unlikely that that would be based on crop value.
Yes, our independent appraiser, ACM Consultants, bases our annual rentals on, actually it's based on the current real estate market values, and then further refined through rates of return. So it is not based on crop value, yes.
So rates of return, can you explain what that means?
It's my understanding and that a rate of return was determined before my time. A rate of return is or percentage that is applied to the real estate market value of the lease that's determined by the appraiser.
Chair, I would like to have a comment read into the record that I don't believe that lease conversions and new lease rentals should be based on real estate value, especially on Oahu. I think they should be based on the value of the crops and the potential for the value of the crops. Thank you, Chair.
Linda, can you, before I
Oh, can
acknowledge,
Sorry,
go ahead. Before I acknowledge Suzanne Case for her question, Linda, can you explain when was the last reopening that determined the $4,800 per year rent?
Just looking at the dates, I'm sorry, I don't have that information with me currently, but just by looking at the dates, generally the lease rents are reopened every 10 years or so. Not or so, every 10 years according to the lease. So I would say, judging from this, maybe about 10 years ago.
Okay, so the annual rents are fixed for 10 years. So
According to the lease.
According to the lease.
Right.
So
some leases can be a little different, but most of the leases are 10 years. Yeah.
okay. So
can I just add for the record that the board had already approved this annual lease rent in the previous board meeting.
okay. So this year. Was it the you said a previous board meeting, so
Right.
yeah.
Let me just double check that. Hold on. At the last board, it was in October 2021, October
Okay.
26, 2021.
Okay, thank you. Suzanne, you had a question, and followed by Randy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with this, but I really don't understand the legal framework here. So it's an existing 65-year lease. And then it's a new lease, just it's rolling over into a new lease of 30 years. What is there a maximum lease term?
Yes, the maximum lease term is 65 years.
So how do you just roll it over to a new 30-year lease without going through a public auction process?
Our non-agricultural parklands program 4-158-8 allows for this.
So I'm just looking at that reg. So that, I mean, I just looked up the two. Let's see, the statute just says you can do regs, and the 158.8 says you can award and cancel leases, issue revocable permits, easements, and rights of entry covering lands for use consistent with your. Is there some other detail, or are you just saying you can do any kind of leases?
You can do non-agricultural parklands leases.
Right, but how do you?
Well, there is a window of during which the lessee can request a conversion of lease. So the lease has to be not less than 5 years away from the expiration date and not more than 10 years from the expiration date. And they're allowed to request this conversion to a new lease. But along with the conversion, they must pay a premium equal to 25% of the new annual rent. So in addition to the new annual rent, they have to pay an additional 25% of that rent for 7 years.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the term part of it. I mean,
Mhm.
what I'm used to doing is you can do that, but up to a maximum of 65. So if you have like a 30-year lease and you want to do another 30-year lease, you can do that because it's under 65, but you couldn't roll over one that's already whatever 57 years, 55, 60, can't do the math, 59 years, and do it for another 30 years. You could do it for, I'm not familiar with the legal basis for that. Maybe
Right.
you could advise us on that.
Well, it is in our 4-158 provision under conversions, which allows it.
Where is that? Which
Um,
are you citing to? I have the regs here. I just want to make sure.
Okay. Are you looking at 4-158-8? It says
Yeah.
conversion.
Uh,
That-
no, wait, maybe I'm not. Oh,
Are
maybe
you
I'm-
looking at 4-153, maybe? That's our Ag Park program.
158-8. Maybe I'm not in the right section. I might have been looking at 450. Okay, I was not in the right section. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, the board can convert offer to convert an existing encumbrance into a new long-term lease
Mhm.
to make a determination. The board has to make a determination that's in best interest.
Mhm.
I see the 5 years.
Suzanne, if the concern is that this person is gonna have more than a 65-year lease, just
Yeah.
wanna mention that the Mulkerns got the lease assigned to them in 2017. So currently, they've had this lease since 2017. They're not the original lessee when it was at BLNR and it came over to DOA. So they're actually had this lease for 5 years. Am I correct, Linda?
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think, I mean, I think the question is, do other people have the chance to bid on it? That's the question. And this is a conversion of an existing encumbrance to a long-term lease. This is as
Oh,
opposed
it's
to
I'm sorry.
converting an existing long-term lease to a new
Right.
long-term.
That's
lease.
correct. It is a long-term lease that's nearing the end of its expiration. And so it is being converted to a brand new lease.
I know, and I don't understand why we have authority to do that without going through a public auction. That's my question. And again, maybe AGs can advise, but
Right.
it just seems like it, under this scenario, no one would ever get to bid on this property.
I'll ask, allow Randy to ask his question. And then before Mary Alice asks another question, I will make a comment that there is a bill that has passed the legislative session, waiting for governor's approval, but I'll mention that after I allow the rest of Randy to ask his first question. Linda, you have any comment to make to Suzanne Case's question?
No, it's
Okay.
part of our administrative rules, so that's all I can say.
Okay. So Randy,
Yeah, it says here, unrecorded extension of the lease in 1981. What does that mean?
The original lease was awarded by the Department of Land and Natural Resources. And it's my understanding that back in when it was originally awarded, well, the Bureau of Conveyances where legal documents are recorded as part of the Bureau, as part of the Department of Land and Natural Resources. So it's my understanding that back then, a lot of the leases were not recorded with the Bureau of Conveyances. It's just a process that puts it on legal record. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, okay, so it wasn't where the lease was done illegally then, right?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Okay, thank you.
thank you, Randy. Before Mary Alice, I asked you for a second question. I just wanted to advise the board, and maybe Linda or someone from ARM might know the bill number, but there is a bill that has passed the legislature, gone to the governor, and it will allow, if it's passed into law, it will allow the board and the department to extend leases beyond the 65-year maximum. And the intent by the legislature was to allow farming operations that have done very well under the state ag land program to continue because they have a next generation that is taking over the business, and they want to continue, but they cannot on the particular lease parcel because they reach the 65-year maximum. So that is a policy that has passed out by the legislature this year. So we do recognize that we have a waiting list, and there are new farmers or people that don't have leases with us that want to get leases, want to be able to bid for leases. But then we also have this policy that has passed out in this session saying that the board should consider making consider extending beyond the 65-year limit. Now, whether this is totally irrelevant, then I apologize, but it seems to be in line with the concerns that some of the members of the board have expressed. So Mary Alice, I'll let you ask your next question.
I think it's more of a comment in response to Chair Case's concern that leases should be renewed by auction upon their expiration. I think we've seen that the results of auctioning the non-ag park farm lots can result in values, bids, or that are well in excess of what the ag value of the land is, especially on Oahu where there's potential for residences. And I think it can drive experienced farmers out of farming because people will bid based on the residential value of the property as opposed to the agricultural value of the property. I know that it's, the auction process is legal. It's just a comment on the unanticipated consequences of that particular process. I think my concern is Department of Agriculture's mission is to support farmers in agriculture, not to generate the highest rate of return on the lands under their management. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mary Alice. Suzanne, you have a second question?
I didn't intend to, but is there a process for people who are on the waiting list to be able to review opportunities here?
Linda, you can explain the, we have that expression of interest.
Yeah, is that, Chair Case, can you restate that question again?
So Member Evans just pointed to the very real issue of ag leases getting outbid at public auctions for people who don't have genuine ag uses. And I know the Mulkerns are a genuine ag use and a longstanding business. But we have a waiting list. So is there, Member Evans mentioned that, well, the chair mentioned that we have a waiting list of people wanting to bid on leases. Do we have a process for people who are on the waiting list to express intention in opportunities, to be notified of opportunities and express an intention?
Oh, okay, I understand. I understand. So we do have an expression of interest form that anyone can fill out if they're interested in leasing land, and it's just an expression of interest. It is not an application form. So if they send in their form, which includes their contact information, name, address, email address, then we put them on our database. And whenever there is a public notice to lease, then all of those on our list will receive a copy of the public notice, and they're notified that way. And so they can be allowed to submit an application if there is vacant land for lease. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, but that didn't happen here because the Mulkerns got the assignment and were.
Correct, correct.
I understand what everyone's trying to do. I just, from a fair process-ish side, I'm not quite getting it.
Well, just to make an additional comment, this conversion rule is in our non-agricultural parklands program. We do have an agricultural parklands program also that does not have the conversion rule in it. So those leases at the end of the maximum term of 55 years will come back to the state and be leased to qualified applicants. Thank you.
Okay, members, any other questions? Okay, no further discussion. Okay, I'm going to do a roll call vote, or actually, now that everyone is visual on the screen. Oh, Fred just happened to step away from his chair. Okay, I'm going to do, since Fred, are you still available? Okay, I'm going to, oh, there he is. Okay, Fred, we're going to vote on this. So I'm going to ask, since everyone's visible, all those in favor of the conversion, the request for conversion, please raise your hand. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I see 8 hands raised. Any abstentions? Okay, I see. Okay, any opposition? Okay, I see Chair Case in opposition, and I vote yes.
I'm sorry, Chair. You'll need to take a roll call vote on any non-unanimous.
Unanimous, okay. Okay, so Mary Alice Evans. You're muted.
Aye.
Okay, Joe Tanaka.
Aye.
Okay, Fred.
Aye.
Okay, Suzanne Case.
No,
Okay, Randy Cabral.
Aye.
Nicholas Comerford.
Aye.
Okay, N Young,
Yes.
Diane Lay,
Aye.
Vince Mina.
Aye.
Okay, and chair votes aye. I vote aye. Okay. Okay, thank you. Next item is request for approval to add and withdraw members for Klk Farm Llc lessee and to extend the term of the lease, general lease S-6014 in the Kahuku Ag Park. Roy Hasegawa will be doing the presentation.
I've called Roy forward, but also I want to say there was a member of the public that raised their hand right kind of in between both of those. Would you like to let them speak now, or should I?
Oh,
how would you
sure.
like-
I think it's Mr. Mulkern. So
Yes.
yes, please allow him to come forward.
Okay, just one moment. Mr. Kevin Mulkern, you can please state your name and organization.
He's muted.
Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, proceed. Go ahead.
So Kevin Mulkern, I'm a landscape contractor, and I've had an ornamental nursery on Ka'alukanu Street for, I guess, about 40 years, which is about a 10-minute bicycle ride up to the new agricultural lot. And I just wanted to share a couple of things with Mrs. or Chair Case. I understand your desire to put things out to bid. I think that's very appropriate. The first time my wife and I bid on an agricultural parcel was, I think, a 7-acre lot in Hau'ula. My wife allowed me to bid 10,000. It went up to 20,000. This, for your information, was 40 years ago. So the $20,000 annual rent was completely unrealistic. I occasionally drive by the lot, and over the last 40 years, very little was done to it. So it was, I guess, heartbreaking. Fortunately, on Ka'alukanu Street, my wife and I met George and Gladys, I believe, Yamada, who were aging and phasing out of the chicken farm business. And within a month, we were able to get a lease, more on a handshake than anything else. But we've been, I think, we've had a great relationship with them for
since 1999.
Since 1999. Their son, who's taken over the property, wants to do other things with the family parcel. And so the ag lease up the street was, to say the least, a godsend. And it was at a reasonable price. I'm not a money person. And I did meet my birth mom, who at age 70 started working at Target. So, and she retired at age 90. So I'd like to think that I have a couple more years left in me. It's quite a substantial investment taking over an ag lot that I guess the kids inherited from the parents who were farmers. I don't think the kids, the Kaubata's children, had done any farming for the last 10 years. So when we moved in, to say the least, we had a project. We had trees that were probably 40 feet tall. We had abandoned tractors, bulldozers, agricultural chemicals, oil, asbestos, arsenic. It was kind of a nightmare. Right now, the lot is pristine, and we're getting ready to sell our current home so we can build a house on it. The 12,000 was something that we could easily, well, I wouldn't say easily,
I choked on it,
we-
but it didn't,
yeah,
it was okay. It was, I think, doable.
doable.
But the 19,000 or 20,000.
Excuse me. I'm assuming you're Mrs. Mulkern, so
Yes.
can you
Yes, I am.
identify?
I'm so sorry. I
Yeah.
had to leave the room for a couple minutes and I just came back. I'm Susan Mulkern and I am the other half of the business here. So we've just probably spent close to $400,000 kind of cleaning up the place, putting in the windscreens and doing the erosion mitigation and repairing the irrigation system, which was a disaster. So we are kind of like already committed to doing this project, and we are very adamant about growing food for the islands. Even though it's not a huge lot, we feel we can contribute in some way to the community by doing this. And so we're pretty excited about doing it. We've just been a little hamstrung with labor shortages. So we're kind of working on it though. And we hope to continue as long as we can, you know. Go ahead.
And I appreciate Mrs. Evans' comments about a balance between growing food. You know, there's the Ulus might sell a lot per pound, but when you kind of compare that with a $20,000 a year lease rent, or I think a 400% increase, it creates some real challenges. You know, so if we're going to support, what is that, food security, I think a balance needs to be reached. The big thing that is slowing us down at the moment, and the private sector is dealing with the same things the public is hiring people. I was following a city bus yesterday, and bus out of service, but the next thing was we're hiring drivers. We're starting unskilled people at $15 an hour, and it's not a living wage, it's an introductory wage, but these are people that are not production oriented, don't understand plants, and one has to hold their hand. And most of our people are making $20. And so to grow breadfruit and actually pay your costs with a $20,000 a year lease rent, it creates some real challenges. So I understand Mrs. Case's point about being fair. I'd like to suggest opening up additional agricultural parks on unused state land would be the most ideal solution, so that we can make room for a lot of these enthusiastic young farmers. But for the farmers that have planted an avocado tree, waited 7 years and started, you know, picking it at, you know, and producing in 20 years, not push them off of their orchard or push them off their farm, but try to provide some security and I guess some compassion.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me rant. Okay, but it was really frustrating losing our first bid, you know, when again, this was 40 years ago, and wife, who is the money person, told me I could bid up to 10, and to have the lease go at 20, which was obviously a frenzy in winning the bid, but the person had no clue on, you know, what he was doing. He did win, but we all lost because that property essentially remained idle for 40 years, and it was sad.
Yeah, very sad.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Mulkern.
Thank you, Chair, for allowing us to talk.
Okay. Okay. Vince, you raised your hand.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I just had a question for the Mulkerns. Are they still on?
Yes, just one moment. I brought him back. He'd be able to hear you.
Great. Mr. Mulkern, you're speaking to the choir here. As far as I'm concerned, I really appreciate what you folks are doing and aspiring to do. So you said hardly anything's been done on that property that went out to bid?
40 years ago. Yeah, I believe they grew cassava for a while, but only on a portion, and there was a shack put on it. When we drove by about 2 years ago, it's going to be converted into, I think, a recreation center in Honolulu. So it's going out of ag, and you know,
Yeah,
so
it was really sad.
it was a little disappointing.
Demoralizing.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate the information.
Sure.
Thanks, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so moving on to item number 2, Roy Hasegawa will do the presentation.
Good morning, Chairperson, members of the board. My name is Roy Hasegawa, Property Manager, Ag Resource Management Division. And I'll be presenting the request for approval to 1, add and withdraw members for Klk Farm Llc. And 2, extend term of lease of general lease number S6014. In 1999, general lease number S6014 was awarded to Jimmy Intensone by the Board of Agriculture. And in 2004, the subject lease was assigned to Dana Sorrentone and McCart Sorrentone. By MESNI assignment, in 2021, the subject lease was assigned to Klk Farm Llc. Klk LLC is owned by Dana Kiatanan and produces primarily dragon fruit, avocado, lime, and lychee, which are sold at farmers markets, restaurants, and supermarkets. Klk Farm LLC requests to add Lisa Lai as a member, and Ms. Kiatanan requests termination as a member of Klk Farm LLC due to physical disabilities and will cease involvement in company operations pursuant to Section 4-153, 33A60 Hawaii Administrative Rules. Lisa Lai has been working full-time on Ms. Kiatanan's farm as a manager of day-to-day operations since 2019. Prior to working and farming on the subject farm lot, Ms. Lai owned a 10-acre farm and managed 6 employees. Ms. Lai qualifies as a bona fide farmer with more than 2 years of full-time farming experience and meets the eligibility requirements for agricultural parks pursuant to Sections 4-153(1) and 13 Hawaii Administrative Rules. Klk Farm LLC will continue to qualify as an agricultural corporation with members individually qualified as bona fide farmers. Subject to the approval of the change of members, Ms. Lai requests a 10-year extension of lease term from April 1st, 2044 through March 31st, 2054. For a cumulative total of not more than 55 years pursuant to Sections 4-153, 33A2. The Board of Agriculture may extend the term of the lease to qualify the lease for mortgage lending purposes pursuant to Section 4-153, 33B. Ms. Lai has been pre-approved for a loan subject to board approval of extension of the lease term. The loan proceeds will be used solely for farming operations and improvements on the devised premises. An appraisal will be ordered by the lessor for the purpose of determining the fair market annual base rental and additional rents for the subject parcel for the extension period commencing on April 1st, 2044, as determined by an independent appraiser. Staff recommends that the Board of Agriculture approve the transfer of Klk Farm LLC members from Dana Kiatanan to Lisa Lai and approve the extension of general lease number 6014 to expire on March 31st, 2054. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Roy. Members, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Mary Alice Evans, second. Do I have a motion? Oh, Diane Lay. Okay, we're in discussion. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify?
There are no hands raised in the public at this time.
Okay, so I see board member Randy Cabral has his hands raised.
Sorry, Chair, that was a mistake.
Oh, okay. Anyone have any questions? Okay, if not, then I'll do a roll call vote. All those in favor for the request to approve to add and withdraw members of the LLC, Klk Farm LLC, and then also to extend the term of the lease by 10 years. Mary Alice?
Aye.
Joe Tanaka?
Aye.
Nick Comerford?
Aye.
Randy Cabral?
Aye.
Suzanne Case?
Aye.
Fred Cowell?
Aye.
N. Young?
Yes.
Diane Lay?
Aye.
Vince Mina?
Aye.
Okay, chair votes aye, unanimous approval. Thank you. Next, Roy, you have one more request for approval to award leases to various awardees and backup positions on the island of Oahu.
Thank you. Yes, I'm presenting request for approval to award leases to various awardees and backup positions in the Waimanalo Island of Oahu. The Agriculture Resource Management Division received the Waimanalo parcels from the Department of Land and Natural Resources via Governor's Executive Order number 4534, signed on July 21st, 2017, for the subject tax map keys. In accordance with sections 166E8 Hawaii Revised Statutes and section 4-15822 Hawaii Administrative Rules, a public notice of disposition was published on October 20th, 2021, making the subject parcels available for lease. Okay, pursuant to section 4-158-1 and 27, staff has determined that each applicant qualifies as a bona fide farmer with more than 2 years of farming experience and meets eligibility residency requirements of the non-agricultural parklands program. The Exhibit A lists the applicants, their status, and respective bids. In addition to the highest bid proposal, staff identified backup bid proposals for the subject parcels. Staff recommends that the Board of Agriculture approve one, issuance of appropriate right of entry document to the successful bidders for the lots in accordance with section 4-15822 of my administrative rules, and subsequently issued the appropriate general leases subject to the completion of lease prerequisites, and 2, backup bid proposals per lot as alternatives in the event that the highest bidder failed to complete their lease prerequisites. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Roy. Members, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Randy Cabral. Do I have a second? A second by Vince Mino. Okay, we are in discussion. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify on this measure?
There are no hands raised from the public at this time.
Okay, board members, any questions regarding the presentation or the exhibits? I see none. Okay, ready for the question? I'll do a roll call vote. Mary Alice
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Okay, Joe Tanaka,
Aye.
Nicholas Comerford,
Aye.
Randy Cabral,
Aye.
Suzanne Case,
Aye.
Fred Cowell.
Aye.
Vincent Mina,
Aye.
Diane Lay,
Aye.
and Young.
Yes.
Chair votes aye, so unanimous approval. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to item number 4. Excuse me. Request for conversion of general lease S-4364 to on the island of Hawaii, the Panaeva farm lots. Brandy Ayo will be doing the presentation.
Good morning, Chair, members of the board. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Hi, good morning.
Hi.
I'm Brandy Ayo, property manager with the ARM division on the Big Island. The submittal is a request for conversion of general lease number 4364, Puna Certified Nursery Inc. Lessee for TMK 3-2-4-049-017, Lot 2 in the Panaeva farm lots on the island of Hawaii. General lease number 4364 was awarded by the Board of Land and Natural Resources in 1972. At its meeting in 1987, the Board of Land and Natural Resources consented to the assignment of general lease, of this lease from TSI LTT to Rainbow Tropicals Inc. In 1995, BLNR approved the assignment of lease from Rainbow Tropicals Inc. to Gordon Height DBA GH Trading Company. In 1999, the BLNR consented to the assignment of this lease from Gordon Height DBA GH Trading Company to Puna Certified Nursery Inc. General lease S4364 was transferred to the Department of Agriculture by Governor's Executive Order in 2009. Puna Certified Nursery is an established and thriving business that specializes in the cultivation of dracaenas, palms, and landscaping plants. PCN is utilizing the subject property to cultivate coconut palms. They also hold 3 additional leases with the Department of Agriculture, which are all located in the Keahole Ag Park. PCN has requested conversion of the said lease in accordance with section 4-158-8 HAR to a new 35-year lease term, subject to the requirements of the administrative rules. An appraisal has been ordered for the purpose of determining the fair market rental for the subject parcel. The appraised annual rental will be applied to the converted lease as of the new date of commencement. Additionally, in accordance with the administrative rules, the lessee will pay a premium equal to 25% of the rental for the new lease for a period of 7 years from the commencement of the converted term. The new fair market annual rental rate has not yet been determined. Further, the board and lessee mutually agree to cancel the existing general lease by executing a mutual cancellation, subject to execution of the converted general lease documenting the effective date, so that only one lease is in full force and effect. Since the mutual cancellation of the lease is agreed upon and executed by the parties and is not due to breach or default by the lessee, lessee is eligible and qualified for the new general lease in this respect only. The staff recommends that the Board of Agriculture approve the lessee's request to convert general lease number 4364 to a new non-ag park lands lease of not more than 35 years with rent reopenings at the expiration of the 15th and 30th year, and approve the mutual cancellation of general lease number 4364, subject to the execution of the effective date of the new general lease. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandy. Members, do I have a motion to approve? Approved by Diane Lay. Do I have a second? By N. I see N Young. Okay. We're in discussion. Stephen, is there anyone from the public that wishes to testify?
There are no hands raised at this time.
Members, any questions for staff?
I do. I think I have the same question about this one, and tell me if there's something different about it. So you have a 55-year lease that expires in 2027, and this is non-ag park lands, right?
Correct.
And so you're going to have a new 30-year lease without a bidding process like we had in the last matter.
That is correct.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to discourage farming here. I'm just trying to understand what the consistent way is of making sure people have an opportunity to bid. I mean, if AG can tell me otherwise, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be consistent here.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing your concerns. Any other member have a question or wishes to comment? I see none, then I'll call for the vote. N Young.
Yes.
Okay, Diane Lay.
Aye.
Okay, Vincent
Aye.
Mina, Fred Cowell.
Aye.
Okay, Suzanne Case.
Yeah, with respect, I'm gonna vote no.
Okay. Thank you. Nicholas Comfort.
Aye.
Okay, Joe Tanaka.
Aye.
Mary Alice Evans.
Aye.
Okay, chair votes aye, so we have 9 ayes and 1 opposed. Okay.
Chair, in case you want my vote, it's
Oh,
aye.
I'm sorry, Randy. Sorry, sorry. Sorry. And it's your island too. I'm so sorry. Thank you. Thank you for that correction. Moving on. Okay, Brandy, you've got the next 2, so we'll move on to item number 5.
Okay. Next, I'd like to present the request for consent to assignment of general lease number S4807, Hikari Nursery and Landscaping, Inc., lessee assignor. David Stone is the assignee. TMK 3-1-5-116043 lot 16 in the Pahoa Ag Park on the island of Hawaii. General lease number 4807 was awarded to Eric, on May 16, 1983 by the Board of Land and Natural Resources. In 1985, BLNR consented to the assignment of lease from Eric H, to Elston, Takayama, and Lou Nakamura. With the approval of the BLNR, General Lease 4807 was assigned from Elston, Takayama, and Lou Nakamura to Hikari Nursery in 1988. The subject property was then transferred to the Department of Agriculture by Governor's Executive Order in 1988. At its meeting in 1993, the Board of Agriculture consented to the assignment of lease from Hikari Nursery to Hikari Nursery and Landscaping, Inc., which is owned and operated by Lou Nakamura and Elston Takayama. In 2003, there was a change in officers of Hikari Nursery and Landscaping, Inc. from Lou Nakamura and Elston Takayama to Lou Nakamura and Sheila Nakamura, husband and wife. Hikari Nursery and Landscaping, Inc. are currently producing hydroponic cucumbers. Due to the physical disabilities of the owners, Hikari Nursery and Landscaping is requesting the assignment of general lease 4807 to David Stone. The assignment of lease will include a farm dwelling, multiple greenhouse structures, a packing shed with a loading dock, and crops. David Stone is the owner and operator of Island Distillers, Inc. Since 2014, he has been actively farming on and managing a 2-acre ag parcel on Oahu, where he grows sugarcane, bananas, and Hawaiian chili peppers. These products are used in the production of distilled beverages under his company, Island Distillers. Mr. Stone plans to continue and expand the current hydroponic cucumber operation on the subject property. He also plans to cultivate Hawaiian chili peppers, lavender, and vanilla. Mr. Stone qualifies as a bona fide farmer with more than 2 years of full-time farming experience and satisfies the eligibility requirements. There is a consideration of $82,000 for the assignment of lease. Staff does not recommend an adjustment of the annual rental rate, as the consideration amount appears to be consistent with fair market values. The staff recommends that the Board of Agriculture approve the assignment of lease from Hikari Nursery and Landscaping, Inc., lessee and assignor, to David Stone, assignee, under general lease 4807 and a consideration of $82,000. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Brandy. Members, do I have a motion to approve? Moved by Randy Cabral. Do I have a second? Moved by second by Diane Lay. Okay. Do we have any members from the public that wish to testify?
There are no hands raised at this time.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. Okay, members, any questions regarding the assignment of the lease? Okay, I'll call on Vincent Mina first, followed by Suzanne Case.
Yeah, Chair, I was wondering if Mr. Stone is here. I just had a question for him.
Stephen, is there Mr. Stone in the audience?
Yes, I have him right here. I'll bring it forward.
Okay.
Mr. David Stone, if you could please state your name and organization. If you could unmute, please. Mr. Stone, you're still muted.
There we go. I think, go ahead, Mr. Stone. Mr. Stone, you can speak. Hello. Vince, do you want to ask the question?
Yeah, Chair. I just, it's on process. He's saying about how he's planning on expanding the hydroponic operation in cucumbers. And I'm just wondering, the cucumbers are mainly water and the shelf life on hydroponic cucumber and the taste. I'm just wondering what his comments would be on that.
Mr. Stone, can you respond to board member Vincent Mina's question?
In the chat, he stated that he can hear us, but we're not able to hear him.
Oh, okay. Brian,
He's asking if it's okay to
right, yeah, let me
respond in
ask.
text.
Yeah, let me ask our Deputy AG, Brian, is that all right?
Yes, the public can participate through different means. It's the board members that are more restricted
Right.
in how they do it.
Okay, yes. Do you want to respond in the chat? And
We'll give him just a moment to type
okay.
Chair, I'm willing to wait for it. I mean, it's not germane to the motion. So if you want to move on to colleague Case's question, that's fine.
Okay, did you see that he said that the hydroponic cucumber crops will continue to be sold on the Big Island?
Yeah, I see that. Thanks.
Okay.
That doesn't answer my question, but I could follow up with him at a later point.
Okay, thank you. Suzanne, you had a question?
Yeah, my question was just about the consideration for the assignment, and is this a situation where we do an analysis of whether there should be a share for DOA in that consideration?
Not in this case, that was not in the lease. That was not stated in this particular lease.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, M, you had a question?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I see that the reopener was the beginning of this month. Brandy, you guys going through that process now?
Yes, we are.
Okay. So I guess a part of it was along Chair Case's lines of just, what analysis is going to be done. So that's fine. So second part of it, some of these other lease assignments, some of the people have been working on the property. And so, it kind of makes natural sense. This one, and no offense, Mr. Stone, but just trying to get through the process piece. This one is a person from a different island, coming in and looking at a lease. And then there's also some consideration involved, as Chair Case was alluding to, what from the lessee's perspective, can they just select anyone to assign the lease to, or are we involved in it as the department, to some extent?
Yeah, we are involved. As far as the sales process, they find somebody that may be interested in purchasing this lease. And then they have to come through the application process and be qualified. So they have to be determined eligible in accordance with the rules of the program. So yes, there is a process that they need to go by to be approved.
Yeah. And then, so, this one, especially being, of a different island, what's the thought process there? Because I'm just thinking, okay, what if it's a different country or a different, state, or like what's the thought process from a department standpoint?
So you need to be a United States citizen first and foremost. And then you also have to be a resident within the state of Hawaii for the last 3 years. In this case, I believe Mr. Stone has intentions of moving to the Big Island And I wish he might want to chat in and confirm if I'm correct or not, but I believe that was communicated with me through the application process.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So members, he does say that this ag lease property has been for sale for a few years at least, and that he found it on the MLS, and he's been negotiating for a couple years with the lessees that currently hold the lease. Okay. Suzanne, you have another question? No. Okay. Thank you for trying to answer our questions via chat, Mr. Stone. Do you have anything more? Oh, he says, my current residence is in Pahoa and I will sell and move to this subject property. Okay, if no further questions, I'll call for the vote. Okay, all those in favor, Mary Alice Evans,
Aye.
Randy Cabral,
Aye.
Fred Cowell,
Aye.
Vincent Mina,
Aye.
Diane Day,
Aye.
Joe Tanaka,
Aye.
N. Young,
Yes.
Nicholas Comerford,
Aye.
Suzanne Case.
Aye.
Okay, chair votes aye, so it's unanimous approval. Thank you. And now we move to number 6, request to approve rental offset for lease S4426. Brandy.
Okay. Next, we'd like to present a request to approve the rental offset for general lease number 4426, John F. Garcia Jr. Lessee. TMK is 315-116-011, Lot 11 in the Pahoa Ag Park on the island of Hawaii. General lease S4426 dated April 19th, 2021 was awarded to John F. Garcia Jr. by the Board of Agriculture on December 15th, 2020. The lessee has submitted expense receipts for services, materials, and supplies related to the clearing of the subject property, readying it for planting of various crops according to his plan of utilization and development. The lessee requests a rental offset of up to 2 years of annual lease rent in the amount of $4,700, although total expenses exceed this amount. The staff recommends that the Board of Agriculture approve the lessee's request for rental offsets in the amount of $4,700 in accordance with the terms and conditions of general lease number 4426 and the Hawaii administrative rules. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandy. Members, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Mary Alice and second by Diane Lay. Okay, we are in discussion. Is there anyone from the public that want to testify? Is there Mr. John Garcia? Stephen? No.
I was looking, there's no hands raised and I didn't see John Garcia in the public.
Okay. Okay, members, anyone has a question for staff? Vincent?
Thank you, Chair. Brandy,
Yes.
I'm looking at all these lots in the Puna Ag Park. How's the infrastructure and accessing?
They have water, they have access to water and electric. So everything it's provided to them.
And the roads are in good shape to get in?
Yes, yes.
And who provides all that infrastructural management?
That is a good question. I am not sure who that falls under. Does anybody in our division can help me with that information? That knows the history on it.
Because I know there's big problems in Hamakua, and I just was wondering about,
Yeah, Linda Murai has raised her hand. Can she answer the question?
Linda, I've called before. You can answer.
Go ahead. Linda? Okay, are you having problems with your audio? If not,
You know, can I interrupt for a minute?
okay, well, I see Brian Cow is also present.
okay.
Do you want me to, let me see if Brian can join. Brian?
Linda's on, she just we can't hear her.
Yeah. Brian, can you
Yeah.
answer?
I'm
Okay.
here. I'm sorry. Could you repeat the question?
I think the
Yes.
question, yeah, go ahead. Vin.
Yes, I'm concerned about who maintains the infrastructure for that ag park.
This is for Puna. Oh, sorry.
Puna.
Pahoa?
Yes, Pahoa.
We do.
And that's from what funds?
I'm sorry?
And what funds?
Where do you get your funds to do the maintenance of Puna Ag Park? Pahoa Ag Park?
It all comes from the special fund.
And where does the revenues in the special fund come from, Brian?
Oh, it's lease rental. Sorry about that.
Okay, so yeah, Vince, the rent goes into that special fund, and ARM maintains the ag park.
I see. So that budget from all the lease rents are able to cover any infrastructural needs that happen during the year.
We use that primarily for operation and maintenance. If it's a significant improvement or repair, then generally we will ask the legislature for capital improvement money.
I see. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Brandy. I see Diane, you have your hand raised, followed by N.
Yes, Brian, I guess, well, one question is what type of maintenance do we do? Because my understanding is the Pahoa Ag Park is county water, and power would be supplied by the utility company, Hawaiian Electric now, I guess it's called. Is it the roads that, or are those dedicated to the county of Hawaii? I'm just wondering what type of maintenance we do out there.
We don't have a regular maintenance contract for our ag parks. Generally what happens is if we get notified of, an issue, say, I don't know, something that if the road was ours, I don't think this one is, but if the road was ours, perhaps like I believe Paniava, the road is ours. If there's a hole or something, then we would go out, we would patch it and do whatever is necessary to just make sure that it's usable. But we don't have, unlike our irrigation systems, we don't have a on-call contractor to routinely go in and take care of issues. Depending on the ag park, we do have what do you call that? Like landscaping, I guess. Like we'll cut back the growth and whatnot, just to make sure that that doesn't get all overgrown on the easement portions that we control.
Thank you.
Okay, N, you had a question?
Yeah, just real quick. So understanding is the offsets are reimbursements for some of the tenant improvements.
Yes.
Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. And then so I know some of these leases on the end, there's some consideration for TI as well. So once they receive an offset for rental, then that particular subset of TI does not get consideration, does not get included in the consideration assessment at the end of the lease.
Again, that's a good question. Linda.
Yeah, Brian, you're still in, so why don't you answer that?
What are you referring to as TI?
I guess it's services, materials, supplies related to the clearing of the subject property, readying it for planting of various crops.
Well, no, what does TI stand for? I'm not
Sorry,
sure.
tenant improvements, sorry.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't. Okay, and then the question was, is the value of the offset included in the valuation?
Yeah,
when
just
it
making sure that
transfers?
we don't, yeah, exactly. So, we're not paying, we're not granting a rental offset and then also including that in any kind of transfer value.
No, it's
Yeah.
once. They're allowed to claim it. They're allowed to ask for it once.
Okay, I think you guys know what I'm talking about.
Any other questions? Oh, yes, Vincent.
Brian, what size, how many inch line is going into that ag park, water line?
I don't know the answer to that. It's not our water.
So it's county water, but
Yes.
So each lot has what size meter?
Again, it's not my system. I don't know the answer to that. I'm sorry.
Okay. Is that something you could find out, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, if not, then I'm going to call for the vote. Diane Lay,
Aye.
Fred Cowell,
Aye.
Suzanne Case,
I,
and Young,
Yes.
Vincent Mina,
Aye.
Randy Cabral,
Aye.
Nicholas Comerford,
Aye.
Joe Tanaka,
Aye.
and Mary Alice Evans.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, so unanimous approval. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna take a 5-minute break, and then we'll move on to plant industry. I think we'll take a break now because I think the discussion in the last item will take some time. Very important. So, okay, so see you in 5 minutes. Thank you. We'll be back at 10:47. Thank you.
Looks like Joe ran away.
Thank you. I'd like to call the meeting back to order. Members, now we are moving on to Plant Industry Division. This is a request for preliminary review and approval of the request from the Hawaii Department of Land and Natural Resources and the Hawaii Department of Health to add Asian tiger mosquito, yellow fever mosquito, and the southern house mosquito to the list of restricted animals, Part A, by board order pursuant to Hawaii Administrative Rules, Section 4-71-4.2. Okay, so I'd like to call on Dr. Helmuth Rogg to come forward and do the presentation.
Now you can. All right. Good morning, board and members of the board. Chair, sorry. Good morning, Chair, and members of the board. Hopefully you can hear me.
Yes, perfectly. Thank you.
And Chair Shimabukuro Geiser just mentioned the subject that is in front of the board today, the request for preliminary review and approval of listing 3 mosquito species following the petition by the Hawaii Department of Land and Natural Resources and the Hawaii Department of Health to our restricted animal Part A list by board order. And I'll give you a little background here to this topic. This has been going on for some time. The issue is multiple and complex. This has to do with the threatened and endangered native birds of Hawaii, threatened by mosquito vector diseases, and also, of course, human vector diseases by mosquitoes. So last month, my division, the Plant Quarantine Branch, received a permit application from the Hawaii Department of Health and the Hawaii Department of Land and Natural Resources, requesting the board members to add the 3 mosquito species, the Asian tiger mosquito, Aedes albopictus, the yellow fever mosquito, Aedes aegypti, and the southern house mosquito, Culex kinquefasciatus, to our list of restricted animals, Part A by board order. And you have in your package the full proposal for your information and review. And DLNR is requesting, in particular, the placement of the southern house mosquito, Culex kinquefasciatus, because it is linked to transmitting avian diseases to the T&E birds here in Hawaii, in particular avian malaria and avian pox. The Department of Health is requesting to list all 3 species, in particular Aedes aegypti, which is called the yellow fever, and also dengue mosquito, and Aedes albopictus, because they are linked to transmission of dengue, chikungunya, and Zika virus for humans. And Culex kinquefasciatus is also linked for transmission of the West Nile virus, which is not known yet to occur in Hawaii. At least it's not endemic. And pursuant to the Hawaii Revised Statutes 150A 6.6, The board has the authority to adopt administrative rules to make additions or delete animals and plants from the lists required to be maintained under HRS 150A 6.1 through 6.3, which includes the list of restricted animals, Part A. So the changes to the list can be made without regard to the notice and public hearing requirements of HRS Chapter 91, provided that there's notice and opportunity for public input regarding additions or deletions to the lists. So Hawaii Administrative Rule 471 4.2, called Public Input and Notification for Listing, details the specific process that the board must follow to make a change to the lists maintained by my branch, the plant quarantine branch. It requires that 30 days or more prior to the effective date of the board order, the Hawaii Department of Agriculture issue a press release and mail a notice to the Environmental Review Program of the Hawaii Office of Planning and Sustainable Development for publication, and to all persons who have made a timely written request to the department for advance notice of the order or the department's rulemaking proceedings. And so it's detailed in that 4.2 rule how the press release is required and what the informations are, and that's in your package. So I'm not going to read that to you. And basically what the petition is to list the 3 species. So my plant quarantine branch can concurrently start the process of reviewing the import permit that is also in your package of these 3 species. So these 3 species are supposed to be for immediate field release applications to suppress the mosquito populations in areas where Hawaii fauna are at risk of disease transmission due to the presence of these mosquitoes. That's for Culex kingiefasciatus. And of course, with the Department of Health, this is to suppress mosquito populations in area where Hawaii residents are at risk of disease transmissions due to the presence of these mosquitoes. So this request is basically to allow the listing of these 3 mosquitoes. And by the way, these 3 mosquitoes been in Hawaii for over 100 years. They're present, but we still have to list them so we can import these mosquitoes. And these would be mosquitoes that have a parasite in it, Wolbachia, that would then, basically it's like a sterile male program, wipe out the mosquitoes that we have here and that are threatening humans and birds in Hawaii. So I think I'll leave it at that. And I have staff in present, and also DLNR and U.S. Fish and Wildlife folks present if there's any technical questions that I cannot answer and I can delegate to my colleagues.
Thank you, Helmuth. Members, do I have a motion to approve the request?
So move.
Okay. I saw Vince Mina's hand, and second by Chair Case. Okay, we are in discussion. Is there any members from the public that would like to testify on this request? Stephen?
I'm seeing no hands raised from the public.
So no one from Department of Health wants to comment on the exhibit submitted? Okay. Okay, Questions, members. Vincent, I see your hand raised.
Yes, thank you for the presentation. I know there's been work done to genetically engineer mosquitoes. Is this part of that work? Is the mosquitoes that you're looking to bring in to release part of that work?
No, they're not. This is a Wolbachia. This is a parasite that about half of all insects have naturally. And this Wolbachia, there's different strains. What they will do is will basically render the female mosquitoes sterile. So they cannot reproduce. And the idea is pretty much similar to what we do with fruit flies. We basically inundate the area with these sterile males that then pass on the Wolbachia to the females when they mate. And then there's no offspring that comes out of it. There's different programs going on. There's one in Florida where they do use genetically modified mosquitoes to do pretty much the same situation there, but for human vector diseases. So this is here in Hawaii, this is not the case.
And share a follow-up. And so what is the lifespan of these mosquitoes that have the Wolbachia bacterium?
So they, and mosquitoes, so it doesn't change their lifespan per se, but mosquitoes live a few weeks. So their lifespan is not altered by any of that treatment.
I see. And so how much would need to be released to make a difference?
I can, if Josh Fisher is in the audience, he is the expert for U.S. Fish and Wildlife, or Adam Warsino. If they're present, they can help a little bit. There's models that our colleagues from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife have done, and they have numbers that would probably help.
Great, thank you.
Hi, this is Adam Forsino from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Helmuth, you'd like me to explain the overflooding ratio?
Yes, please go ahead, Adam. Thank you.
For sure. So right now, in order to get above a 90% efficacy of control, we need a 10-to-1 overflooding ratio. That is, you release 10 male IIT males, that is the males with that are sterilized using the Wolbachia approach, that naturally, or the biological control approach, in relation to 1 wild-type female. So essentially 10 males to 1 wild-type female. So it depends on the density, essentially it depends on the density of the wild-type males, the number you would need to release in an area to get high efficacy.
Thank you.
Vincent, I believe you were muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. And one more question, Chair. Is those males that are wild that are able to continue to reproduce, is that why the 10-to-1? Are they that aggressive that the Wolbachia needs to have that kind of saturation?
So this is Adam from the service again. Yes, essentially there are still the fitness components, and you want to offset. I mean, they're both equivalent fitness, but you want to offset the naturally or the wild type male fitness by introducing the and flooding the males using IIT.
Great, thank you.
Diane, you had a question?
Yes, thank you. I think this question goes to Helmuth. In reading through the material, these products, the mosquitoes that would be brought in, they require EPA registration, correct? But they're not registered in Hawaii. So is the department, are you working collaboratively with pesticide branch to move that forward as well?
That's correct. For whatever reason, EPA decided Wolbachia strains of mosquitoes are considered a biopesticide. So we are also working here with our colleagues from U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. On federal level, we're working with DLNR and DOH, and obviously my pesticide branch together with EPA to get the labeling done. And once the EPA gives us the green light and the recommendation, we can probably go for Section 18 emergency regulation and get this label done so we can bring in the mosquitoes with Wolbachia strain.
Thank you, Chair. That's all I had a question about.
N, followed by Suzanne Case.
Thank you, Chair. Just for everyone who's working on this, I think this is really important work, and it sounds, it sounds great for Hawaii, especially for me being a Big Island boy, and the mosquitoes being able to move up the altitudes, with the temperature change and everything. So, really looking forward to you folks getting this work done. And I don't know much about this, but just from the Department of Agriculture perspective, in addition to allowing and encouraging these efforts to occur, we also have the responsibility to stop, new things from coming in. Is there a commensurate effort by the department on inspections, for mosquitoes, these kinds of pests on household goods, items coming in, you mentioned fruit fly, those kinds of things. So, is that a coordinated effort there with the other departments?
Thank you for the question. Yes, the Department of Ag is the leader in the biosecurity program, and this is part of our statutory authority to protect Hawaii from invasive species. However, we are working, of course, in collaboration and coordination with invasive species councils across the archipelago, and we're also working with Department of Health and DLNR on looking for and detecting mosquito species coming in, or new mosquito species coming in particular in the risk areas in the airports. We have traps out there, and our partners have traps out there. We are testing them, checking them. And we have also University of Hawaii, who is doing some of what we call the Cooperative Agriculture Pest Survey, and making sure that we don't get any pests here in through commodities, through cargo, or as hitchhikers. So it's a multi-organization, multi-institutional effort to protect Hawaii from invasive species.
Okay, thank you, Dr.
Suzanne, did you have something to share?
Yeah, I just want to give everybody else a chance to ask questions, but I did want to thank very much Helmut and the Department of Ag for moving this forward with working with both Department of Health and DLNR. And so just to reiterate, there's mosquitoes, there's three kinds of mosquitoes. They're here already. They've been here for over 100 years, maybe close to 200 for some of them. And they're being imported, but they're already here. So obviously not a increase in mosquito risk here. And they're trans-infected with a naturally occurring bacteria. You can think of it as a parasite, but it's a bacteria like you'd have in yogurt. And it just happens to make the male sterile here. And so when you release them and they mate, there are no offspring. So that's kind of the way it works. It's a naturally occurring process, not no GMO involved at all. That's it. Thank you.
Members, any other questions of Vince? You're muted.
Thank you. So the efficacy on the areas that it's been used is such that it's a one application kind of thing, or do you find that they have to go back in and reapply?
So I'll let Adam or Josh answer the question, but it is certainly not a single application. This is going to be a multi-year effort. So Adam or Josh?
This is Adam Vorsino. Yeah, it is going to be a multi-year effort. We are currently not planning on eradicating. Rather, we are controlling within large swaths of at least the native forest. So it will be many years of control.
Right. Thank you.
Any other members? Okay, I have a question. To Department of Health, I see Grace Simmons is present. And then I guess Dave Smith or maybe Chair Case. You know, do you have already planned a public awareness outreach effort? Because, you know, if there's going to be mass release and multiple locations across the state, and, you know, over several years, we need to get the public to understand that, you know, we are not increasing more mosquitoes. That's going to be a nuisance or, you know, a concern. So the reason why I asked is because last session, I was asked a question by a legislator that where's the community outreach, the non-ag, non-conservation aspect, you know, because certain legislators are supportive of the effort and they are trying to do outreach with their constituency, but just wanted to have you share your plans for community support.
Yes, thank you for that. And you're absolutely right. That's a very, very important part of this. And there is very, very extensive ongoing multi-agency collaboration, including on communications of various parts of this at various stages. We have an overarching group called Birds Not Mosquitoes, and it's particularly it's the Fish and Wildlife, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the National Park Service, and DLNR, and also nonprofits, the Nature Conservancy, American Bird Conservancy, the Department of Health, as you know, and the Department of Ag, and others. We have two very extensive environmental assessment processes going on with public scoping. And those are on East Maui and on Kauai, and there's going to be another one statewide that will be completed. So all of those have extensive both public scoping and public outreach. We've had films on. We've had a special on this overall issue, but you know, in particular, it's important for people to understand these are naturally occurring mosquitoes and naturally occurring Wolbachia bacteria. So those are super important to keep reiterating so that people understand what it is that we're doing.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions? Oh, I see someone has their hand raised in the attendees.
Yes, I'd like to call up Griselda Simmons. Yes, if you could please state your name and organization.
Sure, this is Griselda Simmons. I'm the program manager for the Department of Health Vector Control Branch. And I want to also follow up on what Chair Case said about the outreach. Certainly the Department of Health is a little bit, I guess DLNR is a little bit further along in this process than we are, although we are initiating our environmental assessment, and as part of that, we are actively, we'll be seeking community input and providing outreach to the various communities. And so I think we're, like I said, we are a little bit further behind in this process, but we are actually learning a lot from what DLNR is doing right now. So yes, definitely outreach is very important in this process. And as I can tell from the questions, GMO seems to be a really big concern here. And that is something that we really need to impress upon the community, that it is not GMO. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. I refer to Griselda as Grace. You know, we learned a lot, Department of Ag and Department of Health during dengue. And I know that Department of Health did ask, other departments to assist with public information meetings. So, going out to the rural communities that are not accessible by social media. I hope that what Department of Health did for dengue and rat lungworm will get some consideration regarding the mosquito mass release. Just a comment from personal experience. Thank you. Okay, members, if not, then I'll call for the question. Okay.
Chair, one more
Yes.
question. What is the
Sure.
cost? What is the cost of a release?
So I'll, thank you for the question. I'll refer to Adam or Josh again.
Hi, this is Adam Vorcino from Fish and Wildlife. Right now, the costs of release are rather high, but they will be going down as we release more and the product becomes more available. But currently, it's after year 3 or phase 3, it's about 4.5 million a year for release on 3 islands.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, I'm going to call for the vote. I'll start with Chair Case.
Thank you. Aye.
I wasn't surprised. Fred Cowell,
Aye.
Mary Alice Evans,
Aye.
Randy Cabral,
Aye.
Vince Mina,
Aye.
M. Young,
Yes.
Joe Tanaka,
Aye.
Nicholas Comerford,
Aye.
and Diane Lay,
Aye.
and myself, I vote aye. Okay, so it's a unanimous approval. And I would like to thank our staff and the staff of DLNR and Department of Health for persevering and also for some patience as we move forward with something important like this that is very complex. And we look forward to the continued multi-agency effort. Okay, so that concludes the communications from the divisions and administration. There's no old business and no new business. So members, we'll see you at the next board meeting in June. So, okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Vince, second by Fred. Anyone opposed to adjournment? Okay, I see unanimous approval. The meeting is adjourned, and thank you so much for bearing with us with our technical difficulties in the beginning. Okay, aloha.
Aloha. Take care, everybody.